Hello everyone and welcome back to Little Henham. As promised in my last video, I'm doing a product review this time, and I have a new loco here, and we're going to be having a look at the Hornby Class K1 with the early crest on the tender, and this loco is numbered 62015 and in real life was an ex-March engine. There are other variants available of the K1. There is another 62024 which is an ex-Gateshead loco, but being that my layout, Little Henham, is East Anglian based, I particularly wanted this one with the March shed plate on. So without further ado, let's do an unboxing and we'll have a look at the loco in detail, and then at the end of it we'll have a running session and you can see her in action. So apparently this is one of the best locos Hornby has produced in recent times, so let's see if it holds up to the reviews it's getting in the magazines. Okay, I'll present to you Hornby's K1. Just to show you the end of the box, this is the labels now that you get on the Hornby boxes. The catalogue number for this particular loco, as you can see, is R3242, and it gives you the class of the loco there, the livery type, which is an early crest. This particular loco is also DCC ready, so you can put a chip in it if you want, and the number of the loco is 62015. From my preferred retailer, I paid £129 for this loco, but if you shop around you may be able to get it cheaper than that, and no doubt if you attend some of the big shows that are coming up like Alexandra Palace, again you might be able to get some deals at the show. So but anyway, that's the label you get on the end of the box, and the good thing is it also tells you the minimum radius of track that you would need to run this, so that you can make sure that you haven't bought a loco that is going to be having difficulty going around tight curves. So let's have a look at the engine. So as you can see, we have the loco boxed in the what is now become standard Hornby packaging. The loco is a slide out type, and there we go. On the back of the box you have all the information you would need about the K1. It tells you a brief history of the loco, who designed them, and various different things about the loco. It's quite a nice sleeve with pictures of the loco on it. So that is the sleeve. There is our loco in question. And once again, the loco just slides out of the box like that, and within you have the Class K1 detailing sheet, running hints, etc. A brief diagram of the loco itself, the oiling points that you would need to know about, and details about replacement parts. So you get that in the box as well. Again, this is pretty standard stuff now from Hornby. So there we have it. The loco is in 2 lots of plastic. Again, we have a slide out section which we'll put there, and the loco is contained in its own little tray. Immediately on top we can see we have a detailing pack containing brake rigging gear, steam pipes, extra couplings, again all little parts that you can add on to the loco if you so wish. Some people do so, some people don't. As you can see, the loco is confined within this little 2-folded tray, and the easiest way of undoing this is literally you lift up the flap like that, and you lift that up like that, and you've now got access to your loco. So that is how you unbox the thing. And there we go. You just lift that flap back over, close it, and the loco is contained within there again. So now let's have a look at the loco in closer detail. I'll pan round here and give you a general view of the loco, and then we'll pick out the finer points. On first look, it is really a very nice engine actually. On first looks, Hornby has done a really nice job on this. The livery is nice, the detailing on the numbers and the crest have been well executed. The K1s were profusely used in East Anglia on various different trains, and March had quite an allocation of them, so I think this is going to go very well on the layout. Okay, let's start us at the front and we'll work our way along. First thing you notice is on the front of the loco here we have metal buffers, and also Hornby have fitted onto the front here all the lamps. The lamps above the smoke box, and also on the plating there. There's a very nice cast number on the front, 62015, and as you can see there is indeed a March shed plate fitted as well. If we tune in closer to it, you can see it quite clearly says 31B, and it also has the self-cleaning letters on as well. A nice little touch I like on there is the step, which has been fitted onto the front of the smoke box door there, just by the shed plate, and the unlocking handles on the front, again nicely detailed. Here's another little shot of the lamps, and also you can see that the buffer beam has been marked up with the class number K1. Nicely printed, nicely applied. Moving along the side of the loco, we have all cast metal wheels, and along the running plate there, again lots and lots of detail, sandboxes and all the other bits and pieces that you would need to see if you are indeed modelling this loco. On the side of the smoke box there, and to the front of the smoke box on the running plate, again two cast plates, nicely detailed. Let's see if we can have a little closer look at them. On the side here is the North British Locomotive Company plaque. It has been obviously printed on, but it is very legible. You can read this no problem at all. The way it's been done is absolutely superb. It's been printed so nicely, and is obviously correct for the class. Hornby have done very well on getting this right. The other brass plate we've got applied is the one with the number on, 62015, and underneath the year that the loco was built, 1949. Again, nicely printed, very legible, very good. Moving along the top of the loco, you can see that we have obviously the chimney, and the red banding around the boiler is very impressive. And generally the livery that this loco is in, the early crest, it suits these locos very well. Down to the cab, and there we have the number. Printed on the side, and the cab, as you can see, is all lined out, and that has also been done very well. On the side of the tender we have the early BR crest, the cycling lion. The colouring of this is quite nice. I don't know whether it's because it's in the light here, but it looks a bit too light. I'd like the colours to have been a little bit deeper, a little bit more stand-out-ish, but it might be just because I'm filming this in quite a light area. But generally this has been nicely applied. Okay, having a look at the back of the tender, you can see that the coupling has already been fitted. As like the front, it has full metal buffers, and fitted on the rear of the tender we have the electric lamps, the steam pipe, and very nicely modelled steps ascending the back of the tender there. These have all been quite finely made, and they are nicely modelled, and it just enhances the engine generally. It's these little extra bits that really kind of bring it to life, and again with a bit of weathering on here to take the shine off, this will look really good. Generally this coal is normally removable, so I'm hoping it is, because I shall replace it with real coal in the tender, and generally I think this Loco would look better if I weathered it as well, just to take off the shine. The lines of the K1 are really nice. Going along from the cab to the tender, again we have steps moulded into there, modelled very well. All the braking there is evident, and the boxes on the wheels. Again, they've been modelled quite nicely, but with some weathering and perhaps a little bit of brake dust or rust, you could actually bring these more to life. But as you can see, it's all there. Not a bad job, Hornby, not a bad job. Even the tiny details like this, I mean they just make them to look like brass. They're really cool. So let's have a look inside the cab, because there's quite a bit of detail in there and all. They've done quite a good job on that as well, but see what you think. Okay, so this is the cab of the K1. I'll try and get the camera in as close as I can here, but you can see that the regulator handle, all the gauges have been detailed. Even the firebox door there has been really well moulded so it stands out. The regulator and brake handles, the piping, again has all been coloured so you can actually see what it is and where it is, like you would on the real Loco. There we go. A lot of people say that all this extra detail you could do without, because you're not going to see it half the time, and also that would keep the price down. Yeah, probably it would do, but I must admit, once you put a crew in here, this will look really good, and it's quite nice to have all this detail. It just brings the model more to life, and it stops it from being basically a toy and actually makes it into a working model. But again, the cab has been really nicely detailed here. There we go, I've tried to move in a little bit closer so you can see. But yeah, pretty impressive. Okay, the other item in the cab which has been really again nicely modelled is on both sides of the cab you have the driver's seat and the seat for the fireman. Once you get a crew in here, you get a driver in there with his arm hanging out the window and one arm on the regulator. Again, it will really bring this Loco to life. Well done, Hornby, nice touch that, like that. And there we go, there's a shot of both the seats together, the drivers and the fireman's. And as you can see, the pipework there has even been modelled. Again, it's been pre-coloured into the brass colour, and it just makes the models so much better. I know you've got to pay quite a bit of money now for these Locos, but me personally, yeah, I do think it's worth it. It just makes them so much better. This is a nice model. Now if I poke the camera into the rear of the tender, you can see that all the drivers and the fireman's lockers have been detailed in the tender. Again, nicely done, nicely picked out. With a bit of weathering, you could actually enhance this so you can see it a bit better. The only thing I really need to add to this now really is a crew to bring this to life, and yeah, you could really make this look good. Can't wait to run this on the layout in a minute. Running along the side here, you can see that they've modelled the handrails, the grab handles or the grab rail along the side of the boiler here. This has been fitted and applied very nicely. I mean, you could even have this loco sitting in a depot scene with someone up on this running plate holding onto there, cleaning the loco. But it's just another little detail which is quite nice. Also on the side here you've got the grab handles, again made of metal. They're the ball and pole type of setup, individually put on, nicely detailed, just something else which brings the loco to life. Hornby could have just moulded these into the loco, but they haven't. They've actually fitted individual ones, and they're really nice. And if we notice there, you've also got the flap doors that bridge the gap between the cab and the tender, and just underneath there you've got the piece of metal which goes again from the cab floor to the tender, so that the fireman and the driver don't fall between the loco. Again, that's been modelled really nicely. Okay, in a second I'll put the loco on its side and we'll have a look at the underneath. But here's a general view of Hornby's K1. Okay, I've put the loco on its side and you can have a look at what it looks like underneath. There is a bit of detail under here, obviously behind the wheels. You've got the braking and that. It's not overdone, and the biggest thing here is, as you can see, the loco and the tender are permanently coupled. And on this screw here, as you can see, there is room to adjust it, so you can actually bring the tender in a little bit closer if you want to make it run a bit tighter. But that is generally permanently hooked together. Gone are the days where you used to have to try and hook your tender up to your loco like you did with your old Flying Scotsmans in your Mallards. Again, as you can see, we've got all metal wheels. And we've even got, I take it that we've even got the water scoop there moulded. Stamped on the bottom of the loco, it tells you that this is a 12-volt loco. Obviously the manufacturer is Hornby, and it was made in China. That would be so nice to see that saying made in UK, but there we go. Turning the loco back upright, we can see that the windows have been fitted with plastic glass. Little shot of the regulator handle in there. And running down the other side of the loco to what we've already previously looked at, again, nicely detailed. with everything you'd expect to see on a real K1. Now I'm not exactly sure what this item is here right by the smoke box, but again it has been modelled and modelled nicely. The only thing I do notice about this loco is, on my particular version, that after unboxing I have noticed there is a slight mark here. Oops, sorry. That's better. Sorry. Yeah, there is a slight mark on my loco here. A slight bit of damage. To be honest, I'm not terribly worried about it, because once I weather this, you're not really going to see it anyway. But it does show you that sometimes you do have to check your models over quite carefully before coming away from your shop. I know my shop's pretty good, and if I took this back I know they'd swap it. But yeah, when you get your new locos, just check them over, make sure you're completely happy with them. Also on mine, I've noticed that on some of the paintwork there are these little marks. Again, I think they're just grease marks and they should polish off, but it's always worth checking your locos. I haven't had many where I've had to take them back because of damage, but it can happen occasionally. But I think this is just a grease spot. So there you have it, Hornby's new K1. In a few moments I'll put this on little Henham and we'll run it round. I'll put a train behind it and we'll see how she performs. They recommend, I think, you run these in for at least an hour. I normally run mine in half hour each direction, half hour forwards, and then I'll put it into reverse and run it half hour backwards just to run it in. But we'll see how she goes. I reckon she'll look absolutely great. Generally though, I like this loco. I think Hornby's done a really good job on it. I can highly recommend you to go and buy one. As I say, I paid $1.29 for this, but you should be able to pick them up cheaper. It is a very nice loco, nicely detailed, and it does look like it's prototype. So there you have it, guys and girls, Hornby's K1. Well, the only thing now to do is see how she goes. Right, see you on the layout in a minute. Okay, people, I've just noticed that this video is running now at almost 20 minutes, 21 minutes already. So nobody likes looking at really long videos. So what I'm going to do is I am going to run this loco on little Henham, but by the time you've looked at this I would have uploaded the running session. I'll do the running session on this as a separate video, and I'll just title it Hornby K1 running session, and then you'll be able to see the loco run. Otherwise it makes this video too long and it takes absolutely ages to download it onto YouTube. So look out for the next video, which will be a running session of this loco. Also I have a little surprise for you all as well, which I shall reveal again in the next video. So by the time you've looked at this, the next one should be up as well. Okay, see you later guys, thanks a lot, bye now.